The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want their weapon.
Lookoutfa Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
Woodstock 1999, as most people know, was a complete and total clusterfuck. Lots of craziness, lots of insanity. It has always struck me as a very, very strange event. And recently I watched this documentary on Netflix called Trainwreck, where they went over the entire thing and how it went down. And in that documentary, Trainwreck, they interview all these people, modern day, 2021, 2022, and they talk about the entitlement of the attendees in this documentary a lot. And they use the words entitlement, privilege, and testosterone enough times to make me sick to my stomach. Entitlement is not a bunch of kids burning shit down, regardless of what narrative you and your ilk are trying to push on the people. Entitlement is herding a bunch of people into a test field with zero shade from the sun, charging $50 in a DNA sample for water, literally treating them like cattle and expecting zero repercussions for your behavior. So stop blaming everybody else when the powder kegs that you create blow up in your face. Woodstock was a test field, and you may not know it, but you created the infrastructure of usury and treating people like animals, and it blew up in your face. Fuck you. But now back to why this was a testing ground. The more I watched it, the more it backed up what I was thinking about this whole event. So I decided to start searching for footage. I wanted to go through independent footage and find any anomalies and any weirdness that was going on. Just like the Travis Scott concert that I covered a couple years ago or something like that. They did some very, very bizarre things. They were taking away the ability to start fire, right? Any incendiary device, basically. And by the end of the show, when the Red Hot Chili Peppers came on, they handed out candles to everybody at the end. A lot of people didn't see what this could have been setting everybody up for. One guy out of all of them had a theory, and he actually worked for the event. So this is what he thought about the whole thing.
I often wonder, did the producers get all the way until Sunday and say, all we really had here is a big, fairly well-controlled rock festival. We didn't have a Woodstock. And then all of a sudden, these things happened Sunday night to make it a Woodstock pandemonium, possibly to enhance sales of the merchandising that goes on after the event.
That guy was probably as close to the truth as you could possibly get without hitting it, boom, bullseye. I'm not even saying that the organizers had any idea what was actually happening. But this was a test. And I needed to get that independent footage. Maybe somebody who snuck in a Sony Handycam or something like that. Because I found a lot of corporate footage. And let me show you something about corporate footage. This is a corporate clip that I downloaded to check out. And this is why I was trying to avoid it. Let me show you this real quick.
Shit is fucked up, man. Let's start a riot. Woodstock 99. The riots.
So this is that Woodstock audio of the crowd that I just showed you.
Shit is fucked up, man. Let's start a riot. Woodstock 99.
Okay, now let's look at it spectrally. Looks normal. Let's start getting in there. What they have done is they have blanked out the ELF region of this. And you get these remnants that travel down that are there from the mastering. But the ELF has been blocked out. But I hit gold. Now this is the footage that I found, and it was uploaded by somebody that goes by Brenzapalooza. And they snuck like a Sony Handycam or something in their pants in, and then filmed. And what is so amazing about this footage, it is when the fires are going, when the riot is happening, and the bands are completely done. There is no music, there is nothing going on except the people talking and burning shit. You know, that is what's going on. With a home video like this, you don't have the censorship of frequencies like you do with corporate media. Back in the day when I began to break the audio down, new frequencies came in within a week or less, like layers and layers over this audio to create this sort of scrambling effect. I can't say whether what I was doing had anything to do with that, but the timing was dead on. Before that, the sound was much simpler. So that's what's so excellent about having a piece of footage like this from 1999, with no bands playing, no excuses, just straight audio. In 1999, they weren't expecting somebody like me to come along and pull out their communications, pull out their weaponized frequencies, and or pull out their biocommunications out of already recorded audio. I mean, this event happened at an old air base. Think about how suspect this is. I used to be pretty sure something was going on here. I am now 100% sure that something was going on. 250,000 people or whatever, fertile testing ground. You create a powder keg scenario and then watch the results. And again, most of the organizers were probably completely oblivious to this. But this was a test. In 1999, things were in high gear. Not everybody owned cell phones. In fact, very few people owned cell phones in 99. It was just starting to really take over, so all that infrastructure was going up. A large audience event like this is the perfect testing ground because you cannot have flaws. It has to work flawlessly. Now you can check out the video online, but let me play you a little bit of the video where I took the audio from. Here it is. The guy snuck the camera in. No bands, no music, nothing going on. Even the sound area is being torn down where the dudes were running sound from. It's all being torn down. So there is no sound coming through the speakers, nothing. It's important. This wasn't a wireless camera. It was some old Sony Handycam or whatever. And it is 5 minutes and 19 seconds long. To show you what it is, let's check it out. It's the same thing, 5 minutes and 19 seconds long. Let's check it out spectrally. So you remember that the corporate audio that I showed you was blocked of ELF. Well, let's get down into this. Check this out, ELF. So we've got 0 to 50 hertz right here. We've got 50 to 100, 100 to 150. What I did was grab the submarine communication levels, like 50 hertz and under, very low frequency, and I isolated those frequencies. I want you to hear it because it's important. So here are the isolated low and ELF frequencies from that video. Really listen to it. Now it just sounds like a bunch of warbling and a bunch of low noises. Let's go here. Almost sounds like an oscillation. I adjusted those ELF frequencies where the frequencies are more discernible. The average ear. Let's listen to it. You're going to hear what sounds like tuning, and you're going to hear communication and people talking. Check it out. It is the same file. I've only adjusted it. So that warbling is actually talking. Now listen. It sounds like radio communication, but it cannot be radio communication. These are submarine style frequencies. And suddenly, when you bring them up and adjust them, it is not warbling and just noises. It is talking and communication at a concert in 1999. Now what's being said is the icing on the cake and what proves what I'm talking about. It is impossible for those to be average voices when they were 15 hertz, 20 hertz, 30 hertz. These are ELF signals that are resonating within the concert grounds. You have to understand what I'm telling you. They should not be there. And anybody tells you that that's normal is either lying to you, stupid, or insane. These frequency weapons have been in use for decades, but I believe the new version was launched at the beginning of the infrastructure layout, and that's how this went down. And there are two frequency bands that I found most of these on. One frequency band seems to be commands and what I'll call influencer communication that seem to be almost like subliminals. The other is actual communication between people. Now you have to remember that these are pulsed communications. Do not listen to these on your phone. They don't have regular enunciation. It's very robotic sounding. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Each pulse is a syllable. So listen to these on headphones or good speakers. Do not use your phone. Okay, before we get into this in detail, let me give you an example of sine wave speech. Here we go.
The man read the newspaper at lunchtime.
Now what I'm about to show you is a lot clearer than that, but it's just a way to get your brain used to these types of signals, is to listen to sine wave speech. You have to understand, it is imperative that you understand that I am working with the ELF file of this recording from this guy's video. Listen, this is what I'm working with. I'm adjusting these frequencies, just this rumble, to make it audible. So ultimately, it doesn't matter what is being said in these recordings because there shouldn't be vocalizations in this audio at all. It should be merely sounds. However, this isn't the case. This is ELF communication, very real vibrational communication in submarine low frequencies. That is what you have to remember when we're going into this, is it shouldn't be there at all, period. Every single audio sample that I play for you originally came from this indiscernible, low ELF, VLF, very low frequency rumble. Every single one. You can't forget that. Now this is a strange one that I found throughout the entire thing. It seemed to loop or replay throughout the entire thing. And it's a voice affirming, "You've had no sex." It says, "You've had no sex." Check it out. "You've had no sex." Here's no sex. "You've had no sex." Here's another one popped up. It's the same thing. Here is a third version of that. "You've had no sex." Pretty weird, especially considering what was going on. Now listen to this one. It's very strange. It says, "I was going to be awake for the first time." Now that is really nefarious sounding considering what was going on at that event. Check it out. I was going to be awake for the first time. I was going to be awake for the first time. Now these are what I refer to as influencer signals, influencer audio. Pretty weird stuff. It's on a different frequency band than the actual communication. Now remember, this is adjusted audio from the rumble. Now, this one says, it makes me want to fall asleep. It makes me want to fall asleep. These are pulse communications. Every pulse is a syllable. Do not listen to this on your phone. Listen to it on speakers or good headphones. It makes me want to fall asleep. Very weird that it's there. Now this is where we start to get into communications. This says testing the frequency. I'm going to play it a couple times. So testing the frequency. Here's a slower version. Testing the frequency. Testing. There's frequency. So testing the frequency. Here's the first. There's a little bit slower. And then here's a third version, testing the frequency. Here's the frequency. So testing the frequency. Remember this. This is a common thread through a lot of these. This one says test it over the back exit. Test it over the back exit. And if you notice, most of these sound like a radio that is just slightly out of tune because there are other voices around it. I had to isolate these voices. This one says they're testing. They're testing. Now this is one of the most important ones in the entire thing. A voice says, it is working. Hear it? It is working. Remember, these are pulse communications. The inflection is a little bit weird. It is working. The next voice says, we have to test it on apartment buildings. Meaning, more people at the same time. Listen, we have to test it on apartment buildings. We have to test it on apartment buildings. I'll play apartment buildings for you. Somebody says it's working, then we have to test it on apartment buildings. Then the next voice says, probably work if they fix it. Probably work if they fix it. So one says, it is working. We have to test it on apartment buildings. Probably work if they fix it. So there you go. That's very nefarious. Now remember, they were talking about fixing it. Somebody said fix it. And here it says, this is very weird. It says, we can't receive. It's only heartbeats. We can't receive. It's only heartbeats. I'll play it. It's only heartbeats. We can't receive. We can't receive. It's only heartbeats. Now that is really messed up. Listen to that. They were testing this technology on that crowd. We can't receive, it's only heartbeats. Think about that. In this one, a voice simply says, we're patched in. We're patched in. We're patched in. There's patched in. Ominous. Now, this is one of those influencer type signals that I found, and it says, why don't you kill somebody? Why don't you kill somebody? And you might be thinking, wow, this is pretty nuts. But what is that doing in Rumble? Nothing but Rumble. Why don't you kill somebody? Very fucked up. This voice is a weird one, and it says, what is he doing? What is he doing? And then the other voice says, that's how we test it. I'll play test it. That's how we test it. This is one of those influencer type signals, and it says, they've come for blood. In ELF submarine style communication frequencies, they've come for blood. Pretty ominous stuff, right? Especially when you consider what was going on at that show. Okay, I'm going to loop this one, and it just says, let's fuck 'em together. I'm going to loop it. This is one of those influencer type signals. I'll just play fuck 'em together. Pretty weird when you consider that it was just coming from some ELF Rumble. Now this one is funny because here it says it's not the drugs. Drugs. But the most important part of this is for all these paranormal people out there that think it's paranormal. You can hear the computer going off here. Check it out. So all those paranormal people are high off their asses. It's the same frequency band as every other one that I document. So there you go. This one is really creepy. It's a influencer type signal in that band, and it says, I'll fucking RAPE you. I'll fucking rip you. So I'll play it. I'll play fucking, and then I'll play RAPEU. I'll fucking RAPEU. Pretty scary to hear when you consider what was going on at that event. This one is very weird, and I'm not sure what they were talking about here, but it says he was supposed to bring her back. Check it out. He was supposed to bring her back. Very weird, especially when you consider that this came from rumbling. That's it. ELF rumbling. This is one of those influencer signals, and the voice says simply, set fire to something. Check it out. Here's something. Set fire to something. And then this voice here says, I can't move. A lot of trickery going on here. This is a communication signal, and it says, they're starting fires out of everything. They're starting fires out of everything. So it's just communication talking about what is going on. This one is a weird one, and I had like probably 100 or more of these samples and just really cut them down to the ones that I wanted to show you. There were many, 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 and I just cut it down for time. This is a weird one. It says, if I could terminate these patsies. I'm going to play you two versions of this. Check it out. It says, if I could terminate these patsies. And I was like, what? That's kind of weird. So I slowed it down. Check it out. Here's terminate. These patsies. Pretty weird. I'm not sure what to make of that one. This is one of those influencer communications, and it's weird, just like all of the influencer communications, and it says, you're quite the sinner. So here's, you're quite the, and then sinner. You're quite the sinner. It's weird, but a lot of these influencer communications are weird. Now, this one is exceptionally strange. The voice says, I have 15 more agents. I'll play 15 more agents by itself. And if you look, each pulse is a syllable. And then a low frequency voice that's lower says, why don't you send them in? It's muffled and it sounds like it's mumbling. So why don't you send them in? I have 15 more agents. I don't know what that's for or why they were saying that, but it's there. Now this is talking about somebody wanting an update. It says somebody here. And then here it says wants an update. Wants an update. So somebody wants an update of what's going on. Now, this is the last one I'm going to play you. I'm going to play you two versions to prove that this is nefarious. If they were worried about what was going on, why would they say something like, the cops just fucked up everything? And that is exactly what they said. Play you two versions. Here's the first version. The cops just fucked up everything. The cops just fucked up everything. Now here's another version of that. The cops just fucked up everything. I'll play you the cops just fucked up. Now here's everything. The cops just fucked up everything, and the cops did come in and break it up at the end. So they were saying the cops just fucked up our experiment, basically. The cops just fucked up everything. That is what they are saying. Do you understand what I'm telling you? If you're new here, this all came from rumbling frequencies. All of it. Indiscernible rumbling ELF frequencies. It is really communication going on. Basically ground wave communication. And they were testing on these people frequencies. And that can be proven when they say we have to test this on apartment buildings. They were testing out frequency weaponry that they were about to roll out on the entire population everywhere, so they could command and control everything. This is what they mean when they say full spectrum dominance. This is exactly what they mean. These were ELF frequencies that were recorded with some dude's handycam that he snuck in to the festival. This was a weapons test on 250,000 people or more. And that's exactly what it was. The evidence doesn't lie. And I'm telling you, it is impossible for these voices to be in any normal circumstances in the ELF range. Humans don't speak in the ELF range. They shouldn't be there. 1999. So anybody that tries to tell you that it should be there or it's normal for these to be there is flat out lying to you, or they're crazy themselves. Flat out. This was a weapons test. And that's it for now. Look out for Charlie. That's it for now. Look out for Charlie.
Oh, man. I like this kid. This fucking guy's crazy.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.